Text in your request to the Soundchecked taco line 424-666-7356.
Welcome back to the swamp. July 2nd, hotter than ever living hell here in the swamp. It's Moose, it's Soundchecked, it's a full album review Soundchecked. Ariel's Attic, man. So this is a band I ran across looking for bands I want to represent on Metal Coffee, and I really want to pick out bands that I think have something a little bit different, maybe have something a little bit unconventional. I really wanted to find something that stuck out from the crowd, and something about this band did it for. I was just like, I think that I could do some good stuff with this. So that's what I did. I picked them up on Metal Coffee PR, and they've been having a really, really good success. And you're about to find out why. We're going to listen to the entire record, the Garden of the Gods record. It's Ariel's Attic on the full album Soundcheck. This is Moose. Let's get into this a little bit. So if you've done this with me before, you know I'm going to get real deep into songwriting, production, all that stuff. It's retarded. So we're going to do it right now. First cut off of Garden of the Gods, Ariel's Attic on Soundchecked.
Want to know if you suck?
Hey, you suck.
Send your music to Soundcheck.
You know, one of the things about Ariel's Attic that caught me really quick was it. Maybe it's just me, and maybe I'm jaded, and I've done this for so long. But you know, you see it, and you're like, "Oh, cute! It's another female-fronted band that wants to sound like Nightwish, or some girl who thinks she can sing opera." You know, yada yada yada. But the very first thing that hit me when I listened to Ariel's Attic was I was like, "Man, that voice is mature." You know, there's like some soul and some meaning and some emotion in there, and it's not all, oh, yeah. She just has that right register and really knows how to control it well enough to where you're like, I need to listen to this. You know, it's not that overly operatic, just I want to shoot myself in the face and stab myself, you know, with a fork in the eyeball. It's good, powerful, excellent vocal delivery. And the second thing is it has riffs, and it's like guitar riffs that you're like, man, this is really cool. And it's also not like overly cheesy. It's not like a big vat of Velveeta. It's got a little bit of roughness in the production, but man, I dig it. It's so not Nightwish worship, you know, which is like my ultra enemy when it comes down to when I see a female fronted band, especially if they happen to use the word symphonic, I'm like, here we go again with this crap. You know, listen, I love Nightwish. Don't get me wrong. I'm just tired of all the people who want to be them. And I don't think Ariel's Attic is a Nightwish clone. I think that they've got a really good soulful singer. I like their guitar tone. I like the direction they move in. They tell a story. There's movements. There's pieces. Songwriting. Holy crap. What is that? So yeah, man, I you know, opening cut on, I'm like, yeah, baby. They also weren't afraid to let it ride for a little while. You know what I mean? It's not a 4-minute song and you're done. You know, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. This is like, you better get engaged in this because we're going to take you on a ride. There's going to be a story and you're going to like it. So, yeah, but we're going to move on to the second cut off the record called Free Fall. I mean, it's a 4.5 taco from note number 1. And, yeah, so we'll see how it carries on through. This is, you know, I'm going to listen to the album all the way through with you. We'll get into more details as we go in here, but man, so far you're like, hey, this isn't cute anymore. This is badass. And Ariel's Attic on the full album review, Soundchecked with the Moose. Let's do this.
This is Will Lang from Porcelain Helmet, and you're listening to The Moose.
Hey, this is Chadwick from 3 Left, and you're listening to Moose on the Soundcheck.
Man, I don't know if you're hearing what I'm hearing, and maybe it's just maybe because I'm not, 17 or whatever. I'm an older dude. I'm 44 years old, almost 45. So, but there's only 2 times in my life that I've been able to say this. So, I don't know if the band is familiar, if Ariel's Attic is familiar with a vocalist named Nancy Jo Mann. Nancy Jo Mann sang for a Christian rock band called Barnabas. And she had one of the most powerful, amazing, emotional voices that I've ever heard. And Ariel's Attic is the second band in my musical lifetime that's reminded me not only vocally but musically of Barnabas. I'm like, wow, this is like Barnabas reborn. The first band to do that was a band called Olathia. And Chris O from Olathia reminds me so much of Nancy Jo Mann. But the magic in this music is the vocal and also just the way that they're entwining these tunes. This is really good music. This isn't just a bunch of drunk noodleheads banging on their guitars. It's really well written. It's almost proggy. There's so many movements and different riffs, and like it's just so impressive. That tune right there is my favorite tune on the record. It is a 5 taco song. Love it. I wish that maybe she would get a little bit more emotional. Like if we could hear a real high range kick out there somewhere, maybe even not necessarily a growl, but that raspy, because she's got such a sultry, you know what I mean? It's welcoming, and that's awesome. I just can't tell people how much that I am impressed by this band, and I don't know that it's like, worthy of, or not worthy is the wrong word. I don't know if the masses would enjoy this, because I really feel it's got such a 70s kind of feel, kind of maybe early 80s. Love it, man. I don't know how many Suicide Silence fans are going to dig this, but I think that guys my age, that listen to, music when there were songs and there was songwriting and stuff, they're going to be like, yeah, and it's just got that metal tinge to it, and just the riffs rock. I am in love with this band. So coming up next is a tune called Rise of the Gods. We continue on the full album review, Ariel's Attic, from the swamp in Oklahoma City, with the Moose who's sweating his ass off.
Where you get rated in tacos, only on Soundcheck.
I mean, I just can't get over how really, really impressed I am with this. As it goes on, as a package, it just gets better. The only thing that I really, like I said, I do wish that there was a little bit more of a push on a vocal somewhere. The vocal's sultry, it's warm, it's comforting, it's really good, but I want to feel that power behind it. It's a little monotone, but I'm so in love with it, I don't care. But I do wish that there was a little bit more. I'd like to be in the studio with this band and really push her to make me feel what she's singing, because it's there, the emotion, all of that stuff is there, but I'm not convinced that I believe she's got such an amazing talent going on there, and she's doing really good with it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there's a problem. I just wish that I could be there with her to say, come on, really make me feel this, and it's okay to go up that register or go down and get a little bit, that raspy, because that's the only thing it's missing. The production is great. The musicianship is, oh my God, is great. And like I said, it reminds me so much of, I don't just throw around the Barnabas comparisons. Nancy Jo Mann is a friend of mine, and you just don't get that. You don't get that from me unless I'm just like, wow. So, man, these guys, amazing. It just, like I said, it just keeps getting better. It would have to take a terrible, terrible turn to go from anything but a 5-taco record. Really, really good. I'm super impressed. I just sent the band some Barnabas so they could hear it. I was like, you guys need to hear this. We continue. Ariel's Attic on Soundchecked.
Hi, this is Caesar from Zero Theorem, and you're listening to Metal Moose Radio.
Unchanging universe, devoid of time. A moment was as a century. Millennia wrapped in a fleeting instant. There was nothing for them but to simply be. An achingly long state of being. their glory imprinted on their creation, but there were no hearts to worship them. And so it was that they created mortals, playthings to occupy their time, and to gasp in awe at the wonders of this cosmic garden their makers had so generously given them. And the seer of all things observed as the ancient memory played out once again. Come, step into the garden. Yes, step into the garden.
Stay away from the garden.
Step into the garden.
Stay away from the garden.
Come,
No.
step into the garden.
Don't enter the garden.
Do not be afraid.
I have seen the garden. Don't enter the garden.
Step into the garden.
Don't enter the garden.
listening to Soundcheck with the Moose.
So if you haven't figured it out yet, this is a trilogy, right? So it's from beginning to end. If you wanted to wrap it all together, you could, but Rise of the Gods, Garden of the Gods, and Fall of the Gods. We're getting ready to go to Fall of the Gods now. And I love concepts. I love trilogies. I love stories. I love connected songs. And they were cool enough to send me the trilogy in one big piece, which is about 30 minutes long. Excellent. Excellent. Really, really cool. So, yeah, man, we're going into the last song of the trilogy. And, yeah, man, I'm just 5 tacoed out. She's really growing on that vocal, really starting to push that range, really making me feel it, getting a little bit better with that. But musically, and it's smart. It took time to think and write, and they put so much passion into it. Man, I'm in. I am in all the way. Awesome. Awesome.
Hey, this is DJ from Revel 9, and you're listening to the Metal Moose.
The universe pursued its relentless expansion, fueled by the vanity of these powerful beings who sought only worship and adoration from that which they created. In time, it was no longer enough to have merely created their mortal playthings. The gods began to compete among themselves, and unknowingly imparted their worldly secrets to the mortals. And as the mortals' knowledge grew, their need for gods waned. They built cities that kissed the clouds, wrought magnificent works. Their hearts, minds, and hands given purpose. And as the seer had foretold, that purpose was their own, no longer in the service of the gods. Without adoration to fuel their vanity, the gods were lessened, their existence diminished. and the seer of all things remembers what she will foretell. The end is the beginning, is the end.
This is Noah Shark from Moto Grader, and you're listening to Metal Moose Radio.
This is another one of those full album reviews that I feel kind of bad because I don't have a lot to say about it other than great things. I mean, listen, if I would have been in the studio, which is whenever I do the album things, is kind of that's my fantasy. My wish is that I would have got to be there with the band to record the record. Yeah, man, I could have done a lot of different things. I, could have worked on a little bit more Christmas in the guitar tone, a little bit of work on the leads, a little bit more thump on that bass, a little bit more tweak in that kick drum. I would have liked to make the toms a little bit more round. Just little things here and there. I really would have worked with her on bringing it, because that's what I think. Her only weakness is that bring it factor, and it's like it's like when you see that singer on American Idol that can hit the highest note you've ever heard in your life, and you're like, wow, that was impressive. But it's not about hitting that highest note. It's about making you feel what is being sung. You know what I mean? And she's really good at that. But I would want to push her to limits that she hasn't been before. So yeah, man, nothing but great things to say. If you're not interested in buying this album, you're out of your damn mind. They have physical copies. I know they actually sent me one. So yeah, man, find them. Ariel's Attic. You just write me metalcoffeepr@gmail.com or moose@themetalmoose.com, and that will point you in the direction. They're getting great airplay all over the world. Well, because they're on Metal Coffee PR. Of course they are. Really, really such a good band. Song number 6. Next to the last tune, we continue, and I continue to sweat. It is hot. Ariel's Attic from the Swamp in OKC.
where you get rated in tacos, only on Soundcheck.
Dude, one of the things I try not to do in my full album reviews, or anytime I review something, I try to stay away from comparing bands to other bands. So what I've learned to do over the years is to say there are shades of. So to me, there are shades, of course, of Heart, Blue Oyster Cult, even some Ghost-esque kind of stuff in there. Merciful Fate, of course, any kind of symphonic, Nightwish, Leaves' Eyes, Epica kind of stuff in there. That's salt and peppered in there as well. And Barnabas, and like I said, which Barnabas was a brainchild of Rush. Gary Mann was such a big Rush fan. But yeah, man, it's so cool to hear the musicianship and the non-posturing musicianship and vocal and delivery of what's going on, because it's not like, hey, watch how badass we are. It's just like, let us play and tell you our story. And a lot of bands try to do that, and I just don't want to listen. I'm just like, I've heard this before. I've read this book before, but this one, it's been a long time since I've read a book like this. So I'm so super stoked about this. We're coming up on the last tune of the record, which is Closure. Now, they sent me a bonus track that I'm going to keep off of here because I just want to keep it for myself. And then also, I really want to encourage all of you to buy the CD so you can get the bonus track. You just look them up on Facebook, Ariels Attic. And like I said, you can contact me and I'll tell you how to find them. This has been a blast, man. And honestly, I knew that I liked the band. I knew that I felt they had something that I could push with Metal Coffee. But sitting down and listening to the entire album as a whole, which albums as a whole is a lost art anymore. Some really, really super impressive. Easily a 5 taco record. I want this on vinyl. I want to meet them. I'd just be like, hey, you Canadians are awesome. So yeah, man, here comes Closure on Soundchecked. I'm the Moose. I might be dead if I keep sweating like this. It's a possibility. It's going to smell like I'm dead anyway.
The darkness that
Hi, this is Maddox from Messer, and you're listening to Metal Moose Radio.
You know what I want to say as I come to the end of this is that younger bands, take heed, hark, hark ye, write songs, write pieces, make sure your songs have chapters, make sure there's movements, make sure the delivery is seamless. It was beautifully seamless. It was wonderfully put together. It was thought out. There was emotion. There was movements, and which is such a big deal. When you have different emotions like in the same song, you know, it's always a plus. Dream Theater-esque, you know. It's not necessarily as proggy, but you went, whoa, to, man, I'm happy, to I'm sad, or, oh, man, I'm listening to what she's singing. It's not always about how heavy it can be. It's not always about how technical it can be. It's not always about how fast or slow or whatever. I mean, that's just good metal. You know, and I don't even really know how to carry it. It wasn't overly metal to me. You know, it wasn't just like, oh, God, this is heavy metal. I was just like, this is damn good music. She has, like I said, man, I sent that Barnabas over to the band. I hope they check it out and see what I'm talking about. Excellent record. 5 tacos all the way around. Sure, we could have changed a little bit on the production. Sure, I'd like to push the vocal a little bit more. That's all minute compared to how great this is. All of that makes no difference because this is an incredible record that deserves a lot of attention from people out there. And that means everybody. If you're a music magazine and you're into music, you just can't listen to this and say, you gotta go, man, that is good. And I mean, promise you, as much music as I've listened to, and as long as I've been doing this and the PR and the radio show and all that stuff, it takes a lot anymore to make me go, hey. And then there's like, yeah, that's really good, man. And then there's like, oh, this is real good. This is real good. This has been the Ariels Attic full album review from the Swamp in OKC. This is the Moose. Until next time, take care.
All rights to the music heard on the Metal Moose are reserved by the authors, their labels, or authorized representatives that permitted their material to be used. The Metal Moose holds no rights to any music played on the show. Go to themetalmoose.com to submit your music to be heard on the show. The Metal Moose accepts donations of money, Cheetos, bacon, and naked pictures. Thank you for tuning in and subscribe on iTunes. Rock out while you rack out, and consider yourself moosed.